Welcome back, everyone. How was your week? I had a pretty nice week also. Thanks for asking. This is one of my favorite parts of the week, when I get to learn Parsha with you. This week's Parsha is called Bamidbar. Last week, I told you something really special was going to happen this week. Does anyone remember what it was? That's right. We're starting a new book in the Torah. Can you guess what book we're starting? I'll give you a little hint. It's the same name as the Parsha. Correct! We were reading the book of Bamidbar. Last week, we finished reading the book of Vayikra, which was the third book. So that makes Bamidbar the fourth book. In English, we call the book of Bamidbar the book of Numbers. How can we tell we're starting a new book? Are there bookmarks, or maybe the page numbers start at 1 again? No, there are no bookmarks in the Torah, and there certainly aren't any page numbers either. The way we can tell if it's a new book is by looking at the Torah itself. After the book ends, there is a big space before the words for the new book begins. The word Bamidbar means in the desert, talking about the Sinai desert. Stop. Hold on. Wait a minute. I just told you the book of Bamidbar is called the book of Numbers. Now I'm telling you that the word Bamidbar means in the desert. Something is not adding up. Did I write down the wrong meaning somewhere? Those words do not mean the same thing. No, I did not write down the wrong meaning. When the books in the Torah were named in English, they were named by the content or the stuff that's in the book. The Hebrew names for the books and the parshas come from the first word or the first few words of the book or parsha. So the book of Bamidbar talks a lot about numbers, and that's why we call it the book of Numbers. But the Parsha begins by saying, Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe Bamidbar Sinai. Hashem spoke to Moshe in the desert of Sinai. So we call it Bamidbar in Hebrew. Why don't we call the book or Parsha Vayedaber? Because a lot of Parshas begin that way. It's probably one of the most common phrases in the Torah, and almost every Parsha will be called Vayedaber. The Parsha begins by Hashem giving Moshe instructions on how to take a census. What is a census? I feel like I got a letter about that in the mail a couple of months ago. A census is a survey of how many people live in an area. This year, the United States did a census to see how many people were living in each house and town in the entire country. Hashem tells Moshe to count all the men by the land that are older than 20 years old and register them by their tribe or a shevet. Does anyone know how many shevatim there were? There are 12 shevatim. One for each of Yaakov, or now his name has been changed in the Torah to Yisrael's sons. The only group that is not counted was Levi. The reason they are not counted is because they have a special job in the Mishkan. They are to be counted a different way. The firstborn men were supposed to have this really special job, but when they made the golden calf, they became disqualified. The Levites replaced them, but there were 273 firstborn who did not have anyone to replace them. They had to pay 5 shekels to redeem themselves. Moshe counted 46,500 men in the Shevet Reuven, 59,300 in Shevet Shimon, 45,650 in Shevet Gad, 74,600 in Shevet Yehuda, 54,400 in Shevet Yisachar, 57,400 in Shevet Zebulun, 40,500 in Shevet Ephraim, 32,200 in Shevet Manasseh, 35,400 in Shevet Binyamin, 62,700 in Shevet Dan, 41,500 in Shevet Asher, and 53,400 in Shevet Naphtali, for a total of 603,550 men between the ages of 20 and 60. Shevet Levi had 22,300. I think I know why this book is called the Book of Numbers. That was a lot of numbers. Hashem tells Levi that they will be in charge of taking apart the Mishkan and carrying it while traveling, although they will not start traveling for a few more parshas. When traveling, the Levites will be split into 3 groups. Kohath's family will carry items such as Aaron, and the menorah on their shoulders. Gershon's family would carry the tapestries and roof coverings. Ma'ari's family will carry the panels and pillars. Each family would put their tents surrounding the Mishkan. Moshe, Aaron, and Aaron's sons would also camp around the Mishkan. The 12 Shevatim were split up into 4 different groups of 3. Each group had a Nasi, which was a prince or a leader, and that Nasi had his own flag or degel with a special color and symbol. Shevatim Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zebulun were part of Degel Yehuda. Reuven, Shimon, and Gad were part of Degel Reuven. Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin were part of Degel Ephraim. And Dan, Asher, and Naphtali were part of Degel Dan. The Shevatim made their camps in these groups, and they traveled with them as well. Okay, I hope you're paying attention because it's quiz time! Are you ready to review the Parsha? Let's begin. What book of the Torah do we begin this week? Bereshit, Genesis, Shemos, Exodus, Vayikra, Leviticus, Bamidbar, Numbers, or Devarim, Deuteronomy? That's right, it's Bamidbar. What does the word Bamidbar translate to? Laws, in the desert, harvest, or names? That's correct, in the desert. What did Hashem tell Moshe to count in this parsha? The number of men over the age of 20, the number of women over the age of 12, the number of mitzvos in the Torah, or the number of camels in each family? The number of men over the age of 20. What group was not counted with everyone else? Aaron's sons, Levi, Dan, or Ephraim? Right, it's Levi. Why did the firstborn become disqualified from their special job in the Mishkan? They were never qualified, they were not pure, they made the golden calf, or Hashem just changed his mind? It's because they made the golden calf. How many groups were the Shevatim split into while traveling? 12 groups, 2 groups, 6 groups, or 4 groups? That's right, they were split up into 4 groups of 3. Great job! You got them all correct! Thank you for watching my Parsha video. Have a good Shabbos!